Hi, welcome to another episode of my photography vlog. Today, the darkroom I've been building in the backyard is reaching a pretty important milestone. The construction work in there is nearly complete, and the room's ready for me to start outfitting it. So before I do, I would like to give you a tour of what the place looks like on the inside and how I expect all this to turn out. So let's go inside. Coming inside, we begin with the door behind me. So a few things have been changed on this door to make it suitable for darkroom use. First, as you see, the window has been boarded up with wood. And second is these little sort of rubber weather stripping wipers have been put all around the edge of the door in any place that light was seeping through. Given that this door was pretty recently installed, and they did a very good job of it, that combined with the existing weather stripping has actually managed to make the edge of this door completely light tight. And if I'm lucky, I'm not going to need to do any kludges of dark cloth or towels around it. The next part of the light proofing is this window behind me, where there's a piece of plywood that's been covered with dark cloth and some weather stripping, which has managed to make this window almost light tight. Right now, if I turn the lights off, you see small little cracks of light peering through around the edges, but if I was to put some pressure on, it would seal completely. The plan is to get some extra special weather stripping around the edges, and if that doesn't work, I'm just going to take some black tape and line the edge of this window, and it'll solve that problem. Now, one thing this room had before any work was done was a skylight in the ceiling. To solve that problem, a patch was installed on top of it, which required some extra painting and a few extra layers of caulking to make it completely light tight. The final bits of light proofing centered around ventilation. Now, it's very important that the space be ventilated, but we don't want any light coming through the air vents. In order to do that, I did buy a set of these light-tight louver things from Freestyle. There's actually two of them. There's one that's just for the air intake near the floor, and this one up here, which actually has a fan built into it. Unfortunately, these things are not actually as light-tight as they would have you believe. If sun is shining on the other side, there is a faint glow on the inside. To solve that problem, we just needed to have something on the other side preventing light coming through. For the vent near the floor, that involved an air filter and just a normal exterior vent louver thing on the exterior of this building. And for the vent behind me, that meant painting the inside of the vent pipe black to prevent light reflections from bouncing around and up through it. On the wet side of the room, the first major piece is this sink right here, which is going to be used for anything that involves washing with water. This is a Delta TRP The Sink 2. It's actually designed to do temperature control, but I'm not planning on using that feature right now, because that would require having a hot water heater out here, and most of the things that require hot water that I'm planning on doing, there are other solutions for keeping temperature. This sink itself, however, has a bunch of these hose spigot attachments along the side, and even comes with this handy sprayer. So, obviously, if I need to spray something out, do that. These hose spigots themselves, if you want to use them as an actual sink, are not terrific. They kind of spray all over the place. So my solution for that was to get these aerator attachments, which give a more sink-like stream of water. The drain on this sink actually goes to a French drain pit outside this building, which means that I need to make sure that I only flush rinse water down the drain and collect any chemical disposal to get rid of some other way. Below the sink, there's a water filter to help keep the water supply clean. This filter was also supplied by Delta. However, all of the hose attachments that came with it were very leaky, and my contractor replaced pretty much everything with well-constructed copper pipe. It's not leaking anymore, and I hope this filter works out. If it doesn't, I may have to replace it, but I think it's doing the job well enough for now. Over here, on top of this metal frame, is where the second sink is going to fit. That sink is the only plumbed item that has not arrived yet, because there was a longer lead on it, and if I'm lucky, it will arrive by the end of the week. Once it arrives, it will be connected to that drain pipe below. I also put this shelf here at the bottom of the frame to give me a place to store chemicals and trays near the sink. The plan is that this sink over here is where I'm going to put all my processing trays and anything that might splash but doesn't need a constant water supply. And the larger sink next to it is where all of my rinsing is actually going to happen. Up here, going along the wall above both the sinks, is a small shelf that has a couple of wire holes in it in case I want to plug anything in up here. But the primary purpose of this shelf is to give me a place to put dry things when I'm working with the sinks. Things like measuring cylinders, timers, maybe safe lights, I don't know. You can never really have enough shelf space, and this just felt like a good place to put it. Over here is probably the most important piece of built-in furniture in the room. This is going to be the enlarger table. The reason it's so big is because I got a 4x5 enlarger that has an enormous baseboard and I needed to accommodate its depth. That meant that this table really had to be about the full 3 feet deep that these butcher block surfaces come in. In order to make it a little easier to maneuver around in this room, however, one of the corners has been cut off at a 45-degree angle just so that I can walk around it. In addition, some holes for wires have been cut around the back of the board that go to a power strip underneath. So there you have it. That's my future darkroom. Now it's time to go and start taking all the equipment I've been procuring over the past couple weeks and start setting it up in there. And eventually, I'm also going to have to take numerous small shopping trips to buy extra little accessories for the room. In any case, hope that was interesting. Goodbye!